John Legend with the marriage song of the summer. I'm Monica Pearson and my guest today, and the topic, of course, is on marriage, maintaining your marriage and marriage maintenance. And I'm so blessed to have with me today Mel Turner, a counselor who's been married 31 years, and Chuck and Cynthia Alexander, 31 years. And they were talking about how they met, and both of the couples met in school. So I guess the question I immediately have to ask is, so the bar is not the best place to meet somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Ain't gonna work.
It's not going to work. That's few and far between. When I don't know, that's part of society that thinks it is. But meeting that right person is just being available. It's like being aware and being sensitive to what's going on around you.
And that's what Chuck said. Chuck, the thing about it, you said you were not aware when Cynthia came up, particularly at that point. And Cynthia, I'm saying this, you were being the angry black woman.
I mean, we were in school, and we were at different campuses. So I knew Cynthia, wasn't aware of Cynthia's need to be in the class. So after I got reminded in the hallway, it was, okay, now I get it. Now I got to be more present with regards to her, and I took that idea on. Okay.
But then I got to point this out. A lot of the complaint that I hear from a lot of black men about black women is that we do come across too strong and usually come across as angry black women. How did you see past that?
You know, it was. I got fired up, but it was also one of the things where, you know what, pay attention, Negro. So I said, okay, I got it. And so that's why in our later interactions, when I insisted upon, her hanging out with me, I said, okay, you got my attention. I want you to pay attention to me too.
And Cynthia, in your case, because you were coming out of a long-term dating situation and you were trying to give him to somebody else, what's the lesson women need to learn from what you did?
It's really, you need to listen to your inner soul and to really seek advice from God. And all the signs were there for me that this person was there, but I kept saying, nah, I don't want a nice guy. Nah, I'm not interested in this because of the immediate past. But God had a different vision for me, and I had to just take it easy, settle down, and accept what was coming from Chuck, this kind heart. I was able to see his heart, to see what he was really like, and to accept that. And so my message is sometimes you got to step back and just listen to your inner soul and to seek guidance from God.
A lot of young women say, I want a BMW, a black man working. They look for where you live, the kind of car you're driving, and men do that to women too. Tell people why that's not the way to pick a mate.
I almost want to say, you want to see what happens when you need someone that has your back. It's almost like when stuff goes wrong, that's when they really see who's your real friend. And that's the real deeper part of how a relationship gets built. It's does this person really have my back when things are going bad? And that's I think that's a little bit deeper kind of test.
In other words, y'all, don't be in a hurry. Make sure you're friends. Make sure you know each other's backgrounds. Make sure things mesh in the right way. Because that cute little body is not always going to be that cute little body.
And I'm going to add that the car and all the other material things may not actually be that person's. It goes away, or it can go away. And you may not know that they really own it. So you have to really take time and learn who they are. What is the essence of that person, and not the material things.
First year adjustment. Young people who get married say the first year was the toughest. I think everybody says that. How did you get through that first year without killing each other?
I think you really have to push. You have to wrap your mind around the fact that different is not wrong. It's just different. Your mate is different. We spend a lot of our time in our relationship trying to recreate our mate in our image, because we feel like if you were more like me, we could just move this marriage train on along. And that's going to cause them to rebel and go against, because the attitude is, you're not the boss of me. So taking the time to understand. One of the things that helped myself and Renee early on in our relationship, because the first year was hard for us, but about 7 to 10 years in, we stumbled across a book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. It's out there, and it talks about understanding what your mate needs to feel emotionally loved and connected. It's about emotional connection. She has a love language that is the polar opposite of mine. She needs acts of service. I don't need acts of service from her. They're nice. I love it when she does things for me. But I know it's things like meeting her at the door to get her dry cleaning out of the car, making sure clothes are washed, cleaning up, doing things for her. And she knows in turn that the opposite of what she needs is what I need. I need words of affirmation. She doesn't need that. And early on in our marriage, I would say things to her because we tend to speak out to one another in our primary love language. And I would say, "You're beautiful. I'm glad I married you," and all. And it was just like crickets. It was like water off a duck's back. And I was like, and then I would be sitting there watching TV, and she'd be vacuuming and bumping into my feet and all that kind of stuff, and I'd just raise my feet. We were reaching out to one another. We speak our language. So what we've had to do, and what every couple has to do, it's not about how I think Renee should feel loved. It's about asking her, what do you need? Finding out what she needs to feel loved and doing those acts of service. And that takes work. Just like there's call letters for this station, you have to tune your love radio station, your marriage radio station to WORK. You have to go to work every day. You cannot take a day off. And that's what's important, because there's so many preconceived notions. What you saw, what you need, how your mother interacted with your father, and you say, well, that's what love is. And your mate is the polar opposite. That's why that first year is so hard.
Thank